Welcome to our community of entrepreneurs. Hi, my name is Angie Knoll, and I am the owner of Reconciled Solutions. I wanted to congratulate you on stepping into this journey of entrepreneurship and deciding that you want to scale up your business and grow. This is a big challenge for most small business owners, and it is not for the faint of heart. You need to have resilience, you need to have community, you need to have all those skills that you never knew you needed to have when you were sitting in the classroom, not necessarily paying attention. Now you're a small business owner, and one of the critical factors of determining your future success is going to be being able to understand your financials and to run clean and accurate financials. That's what we help people do at Reconciled Solutions. We provide bookkeeping services, which you may think might be a little bit boring, but I'm going to argue that this stuff is super exciting. We help provide our small business clients clarity and visibility to their financials. We want them to understand opportunities for efficiency, and we want them to be permanently profitable. And last, and probably most of all, we want them to have some lifestyle sustainability so they're not working nonstop all the time. One of the ways that we help pull all this together is through bookkeeping. And we use QuickBooks Online. We love QuickBooks Online. It's a great program for small businesses because it has all kinds of features and ways that you can run your numbers and understand and digest them, as well as it has the ability to be inexpensive, right? It's in a price range for a monthly subscription that a small business owner can actually afford. We're going to take a look at a QuickBooks file that's a test drive file and just going to walk you through it a little bit and show you some of the reasons that I love QuickBooks Online so much. The first thing we're looking at here is Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. This is a test file that's available for any of us. If you just go to Google and type in test drive QuickBooks Online, you're going to be able to reach Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. I'm going to put one caveat in here at the beginning, and then we're going to move forward with a little demonstration. The caveat is that because it is a test drive file, there's not tons of data. And some of the reports that we're going to be looking at are comparisons between last year's performance and this year's performance. However, there's not actually numbers in this QuickBooks file from last year. We're just looking at the performance from this year, but I will show you how to run those reports. Okay, the first page that I have open here is the business overview page. It might open to getting things done. In your own QuickBooks file, you can set the default to go to the business overview page. And I love this page. I think it's super powerful because it has all these little charts and graphs of what's going on in my business. Here's a profit and loss. So this is showing how much revenue I have in my business and how many expenses I have. Look at that. I've got a net income year to date of $1,643. Here's a cheer for profitability. It shows what my biggest expenses have been. This is for the last 30 days. If I wanted to change the date range, I could drop down on this list and change that date range. But as it stands for the last 30 days, maintenance has been the biggest expense in the company at $755, down to the top four being $755 for maintenance. Everything else is grouped into $636, so that's $1 here and $10 there. Cost of goods sold was the second biggest expense, and legal and professional fees was the third biggest expense. Over here in this bank account section, looks like there are 3 bank accounts that are hooked to the bank feed, which means that they're hooked to our bank and transactions will feed in automatically. At the moment, this checking account has 25 transactions for us to review and categorize. It gives us the bank balance, which fed in through the feed, and it shows what the balance is in QuickBooks. One would assume that if I accept these 25 transactions into their categories, that bank balance and QuickBooks balance are going to be the same. Let's hope so. Here's a couple of other cool charts that pop up on this business overview page. One is invoices. Great, we can see who owes us money. That's important, right? There's $5,282 of unpaid invoices right now. And what's been paid in the last 30 days is $3,692. Here's sales this year by month. We can change that if we just want to see this quarter or a different timeline. Okay, so that's a little overview of business overview. Now we're going to take a look at reports. So reports are found on the left-hand toolbar under reports, amazingly. The first report I have up is the balance sheet comparison. I've run this report this year to last month, which means that it's going to compare January through October 31st of 2021 to the activity of January to October 31st of 2020. I've set it to list out the change in dollars, which is in this column, and the change in percentages. I love this report when I can immediately look at changes in dollars and changes in percentage. It gives me so much intel on the performance of the business. So these comparison reports are one of my very favorite inside QuickBooks Online. If I go back to the reports, I'm going to run another comparison report because they're so fun. The profit and loss year-to-date comparison is up here in my favorites. It's only up in my favorites because I marked it as such. If you can see lower on the screen here, the profit and loss year-to-date comparison is actually here, and I starred that green star, which brought it up to my favorites. So when I run that, it immediately is just going to November 1st through the 10th, 2021. So I'm going to choose the date range that I want to see the reports on, which is going to be this year to last month. And the other thing that I find so very valuable is to compare to another period. So I hit the down arrow over here on compare to another period. I'm going to hit previous year comparison, dollar and percent change. Hit run report, and voila, there it is. There's our comparison report. So it's going to compare all the income by income category from this year to last year, the dollar change and the percentage change. And then it will do the same for all your expenses, from cost of goods sold expenses down through your operational expenses. And it's going to pop out a net operating income or a net operating loss at the end of the report. Now tell me that isn't exciting. I think it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. Okay, back to running your business. If you're not a numbers person and accounting is not your gig and not the reason that you started your business, then I suggest you hire a good bookkeeper. And when I say a good bookkeeper, I'm going to give you 3 tips for hiring somebody that I would consider to be a quote good bookkeeper. So the first is that you have to hire a bookkeeper that has the heart of a teacher. Okay, and this is super important because you may not be a numbers lover. You may not be a financial reports lover. So you need that good bookkeeper who's going to explain things to you with patience and compassion. Compassion is the second thing you need to have when hiring a bookkeeper. You need to find a bookkeeper who has compassion. And the reason I say that this is a necessary trait of a good bookkeeper is because we all have money baggage in our past and things that have happened to us in our life that we're probably a little bit embarrassed about, and ways that we've spent money that we're not necessarily proud of. And if you're working with a bookkeeper who's going to make you feel bad about that stuff and embarrassed about that stuff, then that's not a good thing. You don't need that. And you need to find somebody who can work with you compassionately, because just because you made a mistake in the past doesn't mean you didn't learn from it and you're not going to do it again. Okay. Money is a renewable resource. And what I mean by that is we can go bankrupt and re-earn all the money that we lost through bankruptcy, right? It's a renewable resource, unlike time. When our time is up, our time is up. But money is a renewable resource, and we want to work with a good bookkeeping company who's not going to shame us about having made an inaccurate move. The third thing I would say about choosing a good bookkeeper is that the devil is in the details. And I say this from the perspective of strategy. So if you want to run a very profitable business and you want to have lifestyle sustainability, then you're going to have to get real intimate with your bookkeeper and with your financials. You're going to be digging into those numbers, understanding them in detail, and figuring out ways that you can be more efficient and effective. So those are the 3 traits that I would look for in hiring a good bookkeeper. I hope that you will consider joining our community of entrepreneurs at Reconciled Solutions. We are on this crazy great journey of going far beyond bookkeeping, which you may have considered boring until now, and hopefully you don't anymore. We're going beyond that basis of bookkeeping, and we are providing you, 1, visibility and clarity to your financials. 2, hopefully we're going to help you with better, more efficient processes. 3, we want your business to be permanently profitable. And 4, again, we want you to have lifestyle sustainability. Please join us.